Now, yay, that's enough from me. PAX people, it's really bright up here, it gets kind of warm. PAX panel people, we've got 2 Toms and 2 Bens. Just makes it easier, really. Alright, Fluffy, good work. I'm going to mostly try and stay out of this, but occasionally might nudge them about things. So, we might have even had, after PAX East, I'm doing it again, stay away from the fallback things. We might have had a PAX panel here. Was it here? Was that PAX?
GDC.
It was GDC one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. But we didn't have GDC coming to Australia. So a lot of it was about, you know, visas and figuring out how to get your phone cards working and all of that. Which is really grouse and interesting, and we hope we all do get to more PAX and GDCs overseas. But there's also the whole, what it's like being part of such a big event, and given that there'll be one somewhere within, assuming it's not in Tasmania, within the shorelines of where we are now. So really good chance to ask questions as well. Like, I'd like to make this an interactive thing if we could, because these guys are probably still slightly recovering from jet lag and have kind of been dragged up here without a lot of preparation, let's be honest. All right, so Thomas, here you go, introduction. Something green. Thank you. So we've got Tom Killen from the Voxel Agents. We've got Ben Kosmina from Green Striped Snake. We've got Tom Greenaway from Kumobius. And we've got Ben Britten from Tin Man Games.
Oh my god!
So yeah, and these guys all just came back from PAX, and here you go. Now.
Alright. Okay. So yeah, no, PAX is pretty awesome, and so like basically to fill you guys in on what was pretty much happening there is that the 4 of us, we kind of teamed up to have our own little Australian booth there, which was pretty cool. But we were just going to talk about like what our experience was and how we were sort of handling PAX and how you can sort of handle these events, because you know there's PAX Australia coming up, there's EV Games, there's all sorts of similar events around, and it's kind of cool just to give our feedback and our experience on how we were running that, so other people can hopefully inform what they're doing. So yeah, basically what we'll be talking about is just what we were doing, and so yeah. Like, it was pretty cool, because like we were showing off our game, which was like this kind of little puzzle game, which isn't typically what you'd imagine would be appropriate for the PAX audience, who are like these hardcore gamer people. But it was still like a really big success. And so we were right near, there was a Sega booth nearby, and there was like some sort of StarCraft tournament happening nearby, and we had our little puzzle game, and like 2 little chairs set up. But it was really awesome, because we were full most of the time, like we were very rarely empty, and I often saw that the Sega booth had some spare spots, and Alien Resurrection, which was nearby, had some spare spots, but people were digging what we did. And that's because we were approaching it with our own sort of like little angle, which was to sort of use it as a playtesting opportunity and to get really people to check out the game and to sort of convert them by winning them with the power of the game. So that's what we were doing. So, that was our idea, is that we wanted to go there and just sort of show people what the game was and get them into the emotional environment that the game required, which was a bit of a challenge. Because like this is a puzzle game which is all meant to be like relaxing and calming, but you're in the middle of PAX with StarCraft tournaments and people killing Zergs and all that sort of thing nearby. So I just had to set up some chairs and calm them down and put some lollies down just to calm them down and slow them down at PAX. And that actually proved to be quite successful. Like I think it got to the point where we'd have to be sort of moving people through and trying to get rid of them almost. Like just get down and start talking to them about oh yeah, what do you think of the game? But really trying to prompt them to move on. And yeah, but that it was super effective. So I was actually surprised at how sticky the audience was to our game. Like the fact that this huge gamer audience were actually interested in our puzzle game was a great outcome. But there were some things that we did wrong, and this is me, the Voxel Agents, talking here. And so the dominant thing, which I'm really kicking myself about, is that we weren't really showing off the name of the game properly. So like hundreds of people were seeing the game, but the name wasn't really sticking out. And so when I looked at our booth, we had like our Voxel Agents logo up there, and we had a couple of signs with the title in like small letters. But it was such a fail that we weren't screaming out the name of the game, because that's really what we want people to remember. I mean, it's great if they remember the Voxel Agents, but really we're there to focus on the game. And so yeah, having flyers and a poster to show off what you're showing to the audience, to reinforce it in their mind, is so important. Like I think these guys all had flyers, and I saw it and was like, oh, that's so obvious, I should have flyers. But yeah, and so it was really important. But there were also some other fails. Like in the game itself, we had the title on the beginning of the game, but people didn't really care about it at that point. Like they were just like, oh yeah, I'll try out your iPad game. And so they'd sit down and play for a little while, and then by the time they loved it, they were no longer seeing the title. So I really had to work hard to try and reinforce that. So that's the number one thing which I'm going to do differently next time at one of these events, is just to make sure I've got the branding right, because at PAX I didn't really have the branding right. So yeah, so that's a big thing to learn. And the other thing which was remarkable was that people weren't really willing to approach an empty desk. So if ever I was in a situation where the desk was empty, I'd just go out there and just grab people and say like, hey, do you want to play my game? And you sort of, like, when I first started doing it, I was a bit worried, like, am I being harassive? But they actually want to do it. They're just a little bit shy. Like, they don't want to approach an empty desk. And so, but if you go and you invite them in, then they're looking for something to do, and you're sort of solving their problem for them. So, don't be shy, go out there and just like, market and push forward. Because after all, that's what they're there for. And yeah, I think it was Apprentice who pointed that out to me. But yeah, so I guess like my top tips would just be like, make sure that you've got your focus on what you're trying to market and push there, and really sort of resolve that, and make sure you're reinforcing that to the audience and the consumers as much as possible. And just get your branding right, like flyers. I hate myself that I didn't have flyers. And make sure that something that they can take away, and those sorts of things are just critically important, so they can play the game, be convinced by the game, and then buy it later when it comes out. So yeah, I guess that's my rundown.
Yeah. So I was working with Andrew, and we were showing off both, well, MacGuffin's Curse and Jolly Rover. This was the way we did Jolly Rover, because that's a point-and-click adventure game. We figured that it would not be so easy to actually get people in playing that, so we just had a rolling trailer, which was pretty handy because people could just look at it and just point to it and say, that's the game. So we actually had both trailers alternating, and they were about 30 seconds each, so it was, at any one time you'd be seeing one of the games, which was good. We also had a big banner of our, a big Brawson banner, which had all the characters for both our games, well not all, but most of the characters for both our games, which was again really good to just gesture to that and say, that's from our game and that's from our game, so you could really just point out to big colourful things, so they seem to like big coloured. Oh, no one could hear me. Awesome. I'll try it again. Yeah, but the other thing that we were doing was just trying to get copies of the games out to people. We had business cards with codes on the back. So there were codes to free copies of the game, which we were giving out to people who seemed interested in it. And the oh yeah. It was interesting to see people, again, like it, wanting to come over but being a bit hesitant to do so. You've really got to pull them over or say, are you interested in are you interested in this, are you interested in that, it'll generally people want to come over but they're too shy to do it, so you just got to get them forward, and stuff like flyers and things like that do really help with that. One of the things that I really noticed by the end of the 3 days was that you've really got to get your pitch down. You've got to say within like such a short period of time everything that you want to say. This is our game, this is what it's about, are you interested? Because people are walking straight past, so you've got to like kind of just grab them and well, not shake them, but but yeah, get their attention. Like we'd have people going past, and so we'd be saying, do you like puzzle or adventure games? And people would either be like, oh, I love those, or oh, I hate those games, they make me feel stupid. So those people, they're so long. But yeah, if they were interested in it, we'd draw them in and say, well, have a look at this game. It's right here. And yeah, so that was really useful for us, I found. Pass this on.
Okay. Yeah. So I only just got only got back to Australia just yesterday, so I'm actually still quite tired. I apologise in advance. Yeah. So I'm going to contrast a little bit with PAX East, which we also attended and showed off Bean's Quest at earlier this year. And I was going to talk about the sort of location differences. So with PAX East, we're actually in the showcase for the indie section, and that was really cool because that was actually really dead center in the whole complex of PAX East. Whereas unfortunately, the place that we were in was kind of more in a corner near the male toilets. But that's okay. We still did pretty well. Yeah, we still had a lot of traffic because of that, so that was really cool. But I kind of anticipated that given the location, we wouldn't really be able to spruik and drive as many sales per se just over that time period, and that seemed to kind of turn out to be like accurate from what I've seen so far of our sales. But like with PAX East, we actually sent everyone at Kumobius over, and we really just focused really hard on trying to communicate with the consumers directly. So for PAX Prime, we rearranged it so only one of us actually went over, but we had a couple of friends in America fly over to PAX Prime and sort of represent it and volunteer and help us. So that really kept costs down, and also, people, if you have friends in America, I'd really recommend you think about, say if you are going to PAX Prime or PAX East, try and get them to come over, because they'll want the opportunity to be able to go to PAX and get a free ticket or whatever. And yeah, like they can really help you keep the costs down, especially because of the flights. But so I took it as an opportunity mainly to mingle with the indies in the Mega Indie booth. And that's another thing I would recommend, that you look at maybe the Mega Indie booth as well. Like I think everyone here would agree that it would have been great if we'd been able to get into there. Because there was just a huge amount of media traffic moving through that section. Yeah, we still had access to the media list beforehand, and you really want to hit all of that up and try and propose meeting times with people. Otherwise, yeah, I was able to just meet with people and treat it less as sort of like a direct consumer exhibiting event and more of a connection sort of networking event. But on top of that, you probably also want to look at a lot of the parties that happen during PAX and these sort of things, because those are great times to network and meet new people. There was like someone I was actually trying to arrange a meeting with over the course of the whole thing, and we never synced up properly, and then I randomly met them at one of the parties. So that, it's just those sort of events that happen that work out really well. Yeah, I guess we can also, you'll have some interesting information about past PAXs as well, actually. But I was also going to talk about the postcards. Yes, they're really fantastic, as Tom was saying. Also, I'm interested in hearing about how you, Ben, Kosmina, can contrast the pins and badges that you organised for GDC compared to how you went with postcards this time.
Pins, the pins for GDC, they went like that. And I noticed that a lot of people were actually asking, some of the postcards that we had, the Jolly Rover ones were just like really simple. A lot of those have gone because they're just like simple flags, and people thought they were stickers. They really wanted like stickers and things like that, so that's the kind of swag they seem to want. But I don't think you can actually do that for PAX, because you can stick stickers in the event. Like on the walls and things like that.
So you're just not allowed?
Yeah, I think that's actually not allowed. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've also heard that merchandising is really popular with PAX as an event as well. So maybe even if you couldn't obviously organize like t-shirts in advance and have them like stocked on your table, because obviously that's a bit of an upfront investment, you could at least look at something like Cafe Press and maybe look at having a t-shirt there ready that people can buy online and order on demand, and have like a URL that's really easy for people to pick up on. And also if you have like a product that can be really nicely turned into a plushie, that would also be pretty awesome. Because like, yeah, we have like a kind of a prototype plushie, and yeah, I just kept getting people asking me like, can I buy this? I'm like, actually no, so I don't know why it's out here. It just kind of, it attracts attention, I guess, but yeah, I mean, otherwise, another thing a lesson we learned from PAX East that we then applied to PAX Prime that really helped me be able to leave our table a lot more easily, oh, that's my phone, was getting iPad locking cases. So you're actually able to tie down the iPads and be able to walk away and be safe in the knowledge that they can't really be stolen easily. Yeah, but otherwise, in terms of banners and, so So the banners that we organised, we had them printed at Officeworks. They were fantastic. I was really happy with the price and how that turned out, except for the lugging them over, like in the flights and so forth.
Yes.
That was the. Oh yeah.
Just if you're going to do banners or you know, stuff like that, banners and postcards and all that crap, get it shipped to your hotel. Do that. Then you don't have to carry it on the plane. It's great.
But I was really happy with the quality and price, so I probably actually will continue to bring them over physically rather than have them shipped to there, because Officeworks just turned out to be like miracle makers. The other thing I was just going to describe though was that the particular banners we went with were kind of more like tripod banners. And I was just like, I guess it's a minor detail, but that kind of tripod banner, you kind of don't really think through how much space that's going to take up versus the kind of banner that you can roll out in a stand. The blind style banner. So really weird point. Just thought I'd bring it up though, because you guys had the blind stands, and it would have been really good for us to be able to like put them behind, like. Back them up against each other. But we just couldn't do that with our tripod banner and with your blind banner. But yeah. Alright, I'm going to hand it over to you. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, so like Tom, this wasn't my first PAX. This is actually my third PAX, and Tin Man Games' fourth PAX. So we've been, location-wise, because you talk about location, that's interesting. We've been in like all the different possible locations you can be in now. I think we were our first PAX East. We were like right in the corner in Indie Alley. We got pretty decent foot traffic, but not very good. And then our first PAX Prime last year, we were upstairs. So like PAX Prime is different. So PAX East is all one big floor. PAX Prime is different. PAX Prime is too big for one floor, so they have two floors. And upstairs is a lot quieter. There tends to be more like sort of board gamey stuff up there, and it's just sort of a very different feel. You don't get as much foot traffic because some people just don't even know it's there. So on the one hand, you get a lot less traffic upstairs. But on the other hand, it's not loud all the time. So you can actually, like last year at PAX Prime, I had a lot more conversations with people, did a lot more networking, just sort of organic networking at the booth. This year we got a lot of that, but it wasn't nearly as much because you're just screaming at people because it's so loud. And then this year at PAX Prime, we of course in the corner, which wasn't as good. But big props to Tony for getting us the booth, because we actually Tin Man Games actually missed the deadline to get the booth for PAX Prime, and it sold out like that. So the fact that we even got to go was thanks for Tony. So yeah. So I've been to a couple different PAXs, and Tin Man Games is a little bit different than the other guys because we're not pushing one app. We've got 10 apps now. So for us, it's more about the fact like, hey, we exist. Hey, Gamebook Adventures is a thing. So that's kind of what our big push at PAX always is. It's I mean, like this PAX we sort of had our most recent 3 games. Vampire Boyfriends, Dread, and the New Blood of the Zombies. We're pushing those 3 games. It's sort of like what we're selling. But really, what it boiled down to, our spiel was more like, "Hey, do you like sci-fi? Do you like adventure? You know, we've got a book for any genre now. Well, almost any genre. We've got 10 books. So like, our big push was more like, A, we exist, and B, you know, if you like any sort of reading, we probably got you covered. You know, so check us out." And we had postcards too, which is always good. We've been doing that since the beginning. One thing, and sort of along what Tom was saying, is that our postcards are, the idea behind postcards is always having really pretty art on it, that it's game art, that like will catch your eye, and then on the back has some stuff on there. And they're actual postcards, you can actually mail them. And I'm beginning to think that that's less important. Like, I think it'd be more important for us just to have a bunch of information on the back that says exactly what it is. Because I tend to get a lot of postcards to people who are like, "Oh, that's cool," and they walk off.
That's what we did, yeah. Front and back, front and back. So front was a big, cool picture on the front, and the back had like information about the game and bullet points and things like that.
Yeah, I think for us, that like our website on them, and that was it. And then the postcards they gave away this time, they have more information, but not enough. I think we need to scrap the whole idea of a postcard. It just needs to just be a postcard-sized flyer with cool art on one side and a bunch of info on the other side. So I think that's because I mean basically the postcards in my mind, I think we printed like 2,000 or 3,000 postcards and bookmarks. And the thing is like I use them basically as an excuse to. It's like I trade the people walking by. I'm like, here's a cool postcard with a zombie on it or a vampire on it. and now I want 5 seconds of your time. So that's kind of the trap. Like I sit there and have cards, hey zombie, you know, hey vampire, dread, you know, and then they're like, oh, what is this? And then they'll stop for a second, look at it, and then that's when you pounce.
That was actually your actual pitch was just like zombie, and vampire stuff. Which, like, yeah, it's really a fantastic pitch. Like, oh, it's Beans Quest, Mexican jumping, like it's just really complex and stuff.
And then we kind of learned that like early on because like we were kind of lucky that our very first packs we had a bunch of artwork from our games, and one of them was a zombie actually. Coincidentally, and that was the one that was really because I had like one that's like an underground city and some of the stuff's really cool, but like the zombie one was, you know, I was like, hey zombie, so that worked out really well. And then the last PAX East or PAX Prime I was at last year, we had like a sea serpent one, so I'm like sea serpent, and that was like people will stop, like, oh sea serpent, what the hell, you know? And that like one word, one phrase is like because it's just a sea of people coming by. It's just a river of humanity, and you just have to like pull people out. Like you're saying, you gotta get people to come into your booth and be like, hey, check out my stuff, you know. And so I'm just standing there with like a stack of like 100 cards and be like, and I had my zombies, my dreads, my vampires, right? So I'd be like, and the vampires were like romance, and the dreads for like more sci-fi guys, and the zombies were for more like, you know. So I'd be like trying to like look at the person come by and be like, is this a zombie person or a vampire person? You know, so I'd be like, vampire, zombie, dread, you know. So that worked really well. But yeah, this idea that I'm going to give you something. And most people will then, sort of a social thing, will stop for just a second. They're like, oh, you've given me something, so now I need to give you something back. Like, and so then you've got like 3 seconds or 4 seconds to be like, hey, do you like to read? You know, or do you like adventure games? Do you know, whatever. So that's then you can sort of go on like that. And I had like a whole sort of like quiz. Like, do you like to read? Do you like to choose adventure games? Do you like role playing? You know, sort of like as a way to sort of gauge whether they're interested in actually keep going, as well as to sort of get them interested in what the game was. So yeah, but again, I think for us this year was more about just in terms of marketing was more about giving the name. I just basically say we exist. We've got 10 apps. We're on all the platforms now. We're on everything. And this was the first year we started giving out. I had Desura codes for Gamebook One, and I just gave those out to everybody, like everyone who stopped and seemed interested. All I'm like, here's a free code. Working back on PC. Go play it. You know, and because we've always had iOS codes, but they're a giant pain in the ass because you only get a certain amount, and they're just a pain.
People love free games.
Yes.
Like. People, their eyes light up. It's like the best thing ever. They love free games.
Yeah. So I mean, like if you're expoing anything, you need to have some free codes anyway for anybody media who stops by. You need to have free codes for them. But if you have just a stack of free games, like Desura is great for this because like you just 10,000 codes, and I basically had business cards where I had like artwork on the front, and on the back I had like instructions on how to redeem the code, and I printed stickers with the codes on them and just stuck them to the cards. So it was great. I just had to stack them and just be like, free games, you know, so it was really good.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting as well because just due to the number of games that you have available to sell in your business, like the fact that you give away one free one, you know, entices them and gets them on board, but then they have the potential to buy more of them. And any one person you're focusing really heavily on like converting them over to buy like one of the games can then trickle over and buy. Whereas with Beans Quest, like, you know, we'd be convincing one person to buy it, and certainly not giving out promo codes because with iOS, like as you were saying, it's a complete pain. Yeah, and even if I give out a promo code to the PC version, in theory, that just takes away the sale from actually happening because there's nothing else they can buy at the moment from Kumobius. So yeah, just maybe at these events, that kind of strategy really should be saved until you have several games out that you can that people can purchase from.
For sure. Like I said, we're in a unique position in that, we're pushing a library of games.
Yeah.
So I think if you're, I mean, you should always have codes to give away to media people or people who seem just really keen or whatever. But yeah, I think we're in a unique position there. So anyway, that's about it. It's me. If you want questions.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for any of the people? Yes, in the middle. I can't see. Josh, of course.
Just a quick question. So you said have a lot of booths, a lot of booths at PAX, but how do you differentiate yourself between your booth and other booths? And is it the best way to do it? Is there best practice? I mean, how do you say, look at me, not them, basically?
Well, I'll start and then you guys can add in. For us, because we're indies, it's basically impossible. Like the booth next to us is, like the Sega booth is like one booth over, and it's just a huge hanging thing with Sega everywhere, and so like for us really it's like zombie, like that's the way it's like you just try to catch people as they come through. For us,
we teamed up.
Yeah, we teamed up. I'd be like, hey, zombie, werewolf over there, Yeah, so I mean, like for us as indies, like we had banners and we got stuff trying to bring people in, but ultimately our budget limits us to being able to do that. So it's really just about
money makes sense.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, for us, it's about being active there.
Yeah, well, we at PAX East we had like a TV provided as well, which was really awesome. So that probably really helped draw people in. But apart, like if you can't, like they're really expensive if you actually need to hire them, so it's really frustrating.
We actually last year at PAX Prime we had a TV. It was good, but yeah, it was expensive.
Yeah, and so if you don't have that, you really need to rely on just going out and engaging people directly, I think. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really have anything else to add. Like, you're quite right, the huge banners for the mega publishers really just draw crowds, and you know, you'll see people like queuing for, you know, the massive games mainly, but there was actually a queue near us for something, I don't even know what the hell it was for.
G4 TV.
Yeah, okay, I don't even know why you would, but whatever. So we actually like did a few rounds across that queue giving out our postcards, because like my thoughts were that actually if people are trying by our booth, we're probably like pulling them away from a destination they actually want to go to. Whereas if they're actually standing in a queue, they're probably already bored anyway because they actually just want to finish the queue. So you're probably entertaining them to come up to them with the postcards.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Actually, Tom got me to do the same thing. Like on the last day, he was like, "You should really do this." With the same thing. I was like, "Okay, well," because I kind of felt like a dick. Like the people were waiting in line. I'm like, they're sort of a captive audience. I didn't want to be like, "Hey, check my game." But then it turns out Tom was totally right. They're bored out of their mind. So if there's like a line of people, be like, "Hey, here's free stuff." Be like, "Hey, you want some zombies and stuff?" Blah, you know. And then give them the spiel. And they, because even if they didn't give a crap about my game, it was something to listen to. It was something to do. So it was actually really effective. So thanks.
Question or comment over here?
Yeah, just like if they're in the line, you can't actually take your game to see if they actually like one of the waiting in the line and one actually just one of the...
I did not, but that's not a bad idea.
Wait, I didn't hear the question.
You bring your game to the line.
Did you actually bring your game? Yeah, for iPads.
No, I just kind of came up and I just kind of like approached it like I sort of apologized for interrupting their queuing. I was like, "Oh, we're just in a booth over there. I know you're in the like a queue at the moment, but you know, when you finish the queue for whatever it's for, maybe you can come over and take a look at our game and here's a postcard and so forth." So yeah, but yeah, I like your idea.
I got any more questions? Yes, Ben.
Yeah. So, what did you find more value in, the consumers or the press and media?
I know for us, like, we didn't really have a game to announce, if you know what I mean. So it wasn't like a big announcement for us. We were previewing the game and showing it off. So we were trying to get some press traction with that, but we didn't have any news for them. Like, we weren't launching it. It was an in-development thing. So there was some people who were interested in that for us, but really, like, it wasn't incredibly good timing for us for PAX. I mean, in the best world, PAX would have been in November 5th or 2nd or, you know, whenever our launch date may or may not be. And, like, you know, that would have been working better for us. So, you know, we did get some traction for myself, but I think these guys with the existing product, it was better. So, you know, I sort of had to change my strategy a bit based on that. So, and actually to go back with what Josh was saying, when you talk, when we were at PAX, like, you've got to consider what kind of throughput you have for the strategy that we employed. Like, we only had, you know, 2 iPads, so we were talking like we were only able to show it to maybe hundreds of people, not even probably thousands. I don't think. No, we wouldn't have hit that. So you're talking less than like maybe 1% of what audience are actually at PAX. So, you know, you sort of just got to differentiate yourself by choosing your strategy. So for us, because we didn't have a product to announce, we weren't pushing hard on the pressing. Like, we were doing it, we were letting people know, but just a preview. But we just customized our strategy around the fact that we had a game that we sort of wanted to play test, to get some champions, and, you know, sort of show it off and do some play testing. So yeah.
No, it is mine. Definitely consumers. I mean, I got on the last day, one of the guys who visited my booth earlier came back and had fan art. He gave me fan art sketches of my main character, so that's friggin' awesome. There was another guy who came with his son and like his little 3-year-old kid, and he was just quietly playing the game while Dad and us were talking. Then he came back the next day and he said, "Oh, we bought your game, and my son was talking in his sleep about it."
Brainwash them young.
It's awesome. It's so cool to meet people who are playing your game.
I'll think a bit more.
I think for me, and for Tin Man Games, I think the difference between consumers and media is kind of not important. Because a lot of people who come to PAX, at least, they're kind of the tastemakers of their group, like people who get into PAX, people who are game players. the people who have Twitter followers. So everybody you see, even though they're the consumers, are kind of like the media anyway. Like if you can get, and surprisingly, people like they come up to the booth and then it's like a dad and a kid. Turns out that guy's got a blog. You know, he's like, oh cool, I got a blog. I'm like, oh, here's a free game. You know, here's a zombie, whatever. You know. So I think, I mean, for us, like I basically, unless there's someone who's, because there's also badges like media badges and stuff. So people have a media badge, I might give them like an iOS code because those are rare, you know. But otherwise, I try to treat everyone like media because they kind of are. Like nowadays with social media, Facebook and Twitter and all that crap, everybody will be, if they're excited about your game, they will sell your game to other people. So it's all about like treating everybody like that in my mind. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess I would like think of it as trying to arrange as much media as makes sense, given like if you have a game coming out or whatever, as Tom Killen was saying, if you've got a game that's coming out very soon, or if it's just out or whatever, then really focus on the press. But you don't really need to focus on one or the other, sorry, because as long as you have other people to watch your booth or be there, or like have friends volunteer or more people from your studio come over, then you really can do both. The other thing I would also mention is the mingling and the networking. If you can recognize some of the more like celebrity type people and pull them in and talk to them and give them codes or whatever, like the VIP cards that Brawsome and Green Stripes were doing for MacGuffin's Curse, that can be really awesome as well, because then you're targeting these very influential people in particular. Like at PAX East, on one of the, I think it was like the last day, Jerry Holkins was walking around, that's Tycho from Penny Arcade, and I just grabbed him and actually just got his autograph, actually, because some other people were doing it. So I did that, and then I brought him over to Bean's Quest and showed him the game, and he was just really awesome, really funny to talk to as well, and exactly as you would sort of expect Tycho to actually be very verbose. He said he would actually check out the game and so forth. I didn't have codes on me at the time, and I thought he was just being polite and that he wouldn't really check it out, but then he actually did buy it and played it on the plane or something, and then actually mentioned it on the blog, so that was really awesome. It was like it drove quite a large spike in sales, as you can imagine. So those kind of really influential people, if you can target them or go out and talk to them, that's really important. And for that reason, again, that's why I was sort of mingling a lot with, I guess, maybe the indies, because I know I'm just trying to, meet up with people that I'd already met at PAX East and sort of build those sort of relationships, because being here in Australia, that can be hard, I think. So, yeah.
When you're walking around the show floor, take someone like Tom with you, because he'll point out there's Mega 64 instead of you just walking right past them.
or alternatively, like what I did was like the woman who wrote our romance novel, kind of like Tom, like she's in the States and I flew her out for PAX. She's actually been to all the PAXs. But she's a really great networker, so I'm not that good at networker, so I'm just like, you go and network. Here's a bunch of codes, here's some postcards. So she actually went out, she meets people and talks to people, and so she's really great. And she actually managed to get into dinner with Jerry at the last night, so that was awesome. So if you're like me and not a really good networker, then find someone who is and bring them with you. Yes.
Have we got any more questions? I know it's a bit tricky when you're all standing up. We'll all be here for the rest of the night anyway. Bars at the front. Yes.
How much space did you have, and did you find about this much? And like, because there's 4 of you, did you find like it was obviously it was tight?
We got to know each other really well.
Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. Yeah, it was a struggle, and I mean there were some concessions that had to be made, like Tom very kindly moved his big poster that was in a really good spot for him because it was blocking us. I'm like, you're killing me, and it was a really good spot for him, but it was a really bad spot for us, and he was very nice and moved it. So there was, I mean, it was a basically like 10 by 20, so it was like 3 by 6 meters, I guess.
It looked like 4 little bowling alleys.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and we cut it into 4 pieces. Yeah, it was really, and yeah, it was tight.
No, well, like, because yeah, they did sort of separate us into mini booths that were about as big as this table. Not really exaggerating that. Well, a little bit, but like, you know, and so, but you know, we're all friends, so we just combined it, and so it worked really well. And like Tony got us all together and talking, so you know, we're like, oh, why not? We're all Aussie indies, and we don't really need these little dividers. So I think that actually made the space a lot better. But yeah, it was small. But yeah, I don't think we really suffered from that.
The more of you that go, the bigger the space we get.
Yeah, we definitely need to do like a mega Aussie indie booth.
Yeah.
Well, maybe just go to PAX Australia.
Well, yeah, we go to PAX Australia. Who's contemplating exhibiting at PAX Australia? Excellent. There's a few. Yeah, if you don't, I'll cry. Okay, yeah, because it's really something, you know, it'll give us, once we know the date and the location. I'm being watched so hard here.
We're making it as affordable as humanly possible.
Yeah.
We are far cheap.
Yeah, we are, you know, like, and we are, you know, trying to get in there for the indies and make sure that you can actually come to the one that's going to be in your own country.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, in terms of cost, like, people are wondering how much it costs to go to PAX. For 10-man games this year, we spent a little over $8,000 to take me and Mylan from DC to PAX. That basically covers everything. It covers the banners, the printing, the booth, which was very cheap because we split a big booth by 4. So it's a big chunk of money. The first PAX we went to, I think, cost us $12,000 because me and Neil flying from Australia, and we had to basically buy all our banners new and all the stuff new we didn't have. Whereas this time we had some extra stuff left over.
So if you could take out travel and...
Yeah, so if you take out, like, having PAX in Australia
wherever it
makes
is, you can find
far cheaper because you guys know people in the cities that PAX might be in. And you might be able to sleep on a couch. And so
we're totally do like rugby clubs that just have little billets, right?
So really you're just talking booth cost, you know, printing for whatever your promotional stuff is, so it's really cheap. You know, I mean, even if it's more expensive here than it would be in the States, it'll still be really cheap, I think.
It might just be important to add that actually MMV are able to help you out, and Austrade's worth looking into, so that can actually make it quite affordable. Because like between MMV and Austrade, it brings the cost right down compared to like what that support offers you. So you know, look into that if you want to go overseas. They won't help you here though, but yeah.
Yeah, I should say the $8,000 we spent this year, we only have to pay $4,000. MMV's covering half of that for us, so it's good.
Right, cool. All right, yeah, so start thinking PAX. No doubt, I'm hoping we'll hear something in the next few weeks, several weeks. Who's going to free play next week? Not enough hands. Keep going. There's still tickets. I'm doing it again. Yeah, so hopefully we will see, like, it's from the 19th to the 23rd. Is that right? For free play? I'm looking at Brad, not looking at you. So yeah, so that's next Thursday through Sunday. So I hope to see a few of you around because there'll be lots of interstate visitors and stuff as well. Great, more networking opportunities. I'm actually heading up to Brisbane for the Fab 48 hour after that. See how other people do game jams. So yeah, okay, I'll shut up now and let you go and drink. Yes, Matt.
Hey Tom, what's that cushion on your lap?
It's Triangle Man, so I don't know, Giselle might be able to.
I've just been taking photos. I'm finally doing, this was from a possible funding campaign for Triangle Man, which is by Convict Interactive, who are based in Wollongong. Rebecca Fernandez, she will be down next week. And yeah, he's just come to visit IGDAM and making Rebecca feel really bad that her plushie's here and she's not. And yeah, you guys are doing this crazy thing at Acme this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no.
So much fun.
I forgot about that. Yeah, no, this weekend just come down to Acme and help us make a game. Because like the Voxel Agents, we're just going to be camped there for Saturday and Sunday, and we'll just be pretty much doing a little mini jam with the public and showing people how to make games. So yeah, come on down and give us good ideas. So it'll be great.
Yeah, so everyone make a game this weekend because I think you're fighting on. All right, thank you. I'm going to go away.